And as Britain's Trussell Trust reports that nearly 500,000 food bank parcels went to British children last year, we speak to food bank volunteer and writer of the play Food Bank as It Is about Theresa May allegedly putting lives in danger. Well, in the past 24 hours, the UK's largest food bank provider, the Trussell Trust, has claimed failures in the Tory welfare system have led to more and more people needing food banks to live. Former Food Bank manager Tara Osman, who wrote and acts in a new British theatre production, Food Bank as It Is, joins me now. Tara, thanks for coming on Going Underground. The odds-on favourite, according to the latest odds, to be the next Prime Minister is Jacob Rees-Mogg, the Tory MP, now marginally beating Corbyn on the odds, says food banks are rather uplifting. Just describe what inspired you to create this new play.
Well, far from uplifting, I found that when I started working at the food bank, I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing. I was shocked, to be frank, at the situations that people were coming in with. I felt that the stories weren't widely known amongst the public, that things were going on under our noses that people just had no idea about. It's as though we were living in a parallel universe. So I was seeing people who had no money for weeks, families.
Children?
Yeah, families with young children. It makes absolutely no difference whether there are young children in a family. If someone's benefits are delayed or they're being reassessed, the presence of children in a household makes no difference.
You see, Boris Johnson, Dominic Raab, another Tory MP, Boris Johnson, Foreign Secretary, saying it's not about people languishing in poverty. This is more about cash flow problems. I
totally disagree with that. I mean, people are living in desperate poverty. Even people who are working, who are in secure employment, are really just about managing. We often find people who, although they may not be able to feed themselves, they also can't heat their homes, and sometimes they can't even light their homes. People are not able to run fridges or ovens because they don't have the money to pay for the power. So people really are in poverty. It's a serious problem in this country.
I know it's been performed in front of Jeremy Corbyn. Before Jeremy Corbyn became Labour leader, we had Blairites appearing on this programme advocating the carrot and stick approach towards welfare and to the most vulnerable. How do you think the media managed to create, if you do, a perception that actually these are just people scrounging and using food banks as some sort of, in Amber Rudd's words, magic money tree of a different sort?
I think the discourse in some of the press is deeply distasteful and immoral, frankly. That, you know, these are not just words. These words are really hurting people. They really, you know, internalise the stigma that is peddled. And people just believe it. And even articles that depict food bank clients in a supposedly sympathetic light often don't go into full detail and leave the person open to horrible comments, trolling and insults.
Do you think they help to create an atmosphere of which the Prime Minister said food bank use is complex, the reasons for food bank use are complex, and that it's not simply a matter of having enough money to eat? What do you think the Prime Minister meant by that?
I think that she may be trying to fudge the issue and distract people from the fact that the main issue is poverty. That's what's driving food bank use. There are compounding factors that result in a person living in poverty, so disability, mental health issues, addictions, all make it more difficult for someone to manage.
So it's not conscious cruelty then, on the part of the government? Conscious cruelty is the phrase used by some as regards austerity that drives them. People like the director Ken Loach, who's been on this programme, who depicted them, of course, famously in the Palme d'Or winning film I, Daniel Blake.
I think before I did the job at the food bank, I would have thought that phrase was overblown. But having seen the reality, it is really, really hard to escape the notion that there is a conscious policy going on here to leave people in need, and possibly that somehow that will deter people from claiming benefits. You know, I mean, when I see someone whose money has been stopped overnight, who has a disability, who has maybe depression, and is driven to the verge of, you know, feeling hopeless and despairing, I have met people and known people who've been using the food bank who've attempted suicide, and it's very difficult to escape the feeling that there is a conscious cruelty going on.
Osman, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, in a moment we'll hear an excerpt from the play, and if you're in London in the UK, you can see it at 7 p.m. at Centre E17 in Walthamstow. That's it for the show. We'll be back on Saturday with Palestinian MC Gaza after the UN's Mideast envoy has told Israel to stop shooting at children. Keep in touch via social media. We'll see you on Saturday. 51 years to the day Muhammad Ali refused to serve in the US war against Vietnam that would kill more than 4 million men, women and children. He was stripped of his title as heavyweight champion of the world. Now, here is Sarah Somerville performing an excerpt from Food Bank As It Is.
A lot of us volunteers are former food bank users. And every week we hear the same things. I'm so ashamed. I'm so embarrassed to be here. I can't believe it's me needing help. It's usually me helping other people. Some of them are quite pale. Some of them thin. Some of them can barely hold their heads up, they're so low on energy. Often if you show them the slightest kindness or understanding, they'll burst into tears. Even the men. They'll say things like, I feel broken, or everything's wrong, just everything. And there'll be tears streaming down their faces. You try and keep it light, of course you do. But every week, at least now, at least one person says they feel like, you know, killing themselves. We keep a happy face, you know, we really try. But sometimes it's all you can do not to break down and cry with them. I know some people say that food banks are run by a bunch of do-gooders, taking the place of what government should be doing. Well, what are we meant to do, eh? Let people starve?